Yo, what is up ladies and gents, Ghost here, welcome back to yet another video. This one is going to be quite loaded with interesting topics. So first of all, we've had a new controversy that has sprung up yesterday as some data mine files have been found in the Battlefield Labs playtest that would indicate that skill-based matchmaking is going to be in Battlefield 6, at least to some degree. DICE have chimed in and they've tried to put the community's worries to rest, so we're going to go and look at all of the information here that's on display, not just the leak itself. And then in addition to that, it sounds like there is yet another Battlefield Labs test just around the corner, and this time it's going to include a lot more than we've seen so far. So we're talking air vehicles like helicopters and jets. Before we get started, as always, if you guys do enjoy the content here on the channel, make sure that you are subscribed. There's going to be a lot more coming up on Battlefield as we go into the future. Also, if you guys want to find me streaming on Twitch, you can find the link to that below. And as always, if you guys do decide to subscribe, or even if you just watch my videos, the support is massively appreciated. So thank you guys so much for that. Okay, so first up here, it sounds like there is yet another Battlefield Labs playtest about to take place next week. So once again, go and check your emails, guys. Check your junk boxes as well, just in case you happen to get an invite. Maybe I'll get one this time as well. Because rumor has it that this time around, it's going to be a much bigger test with a lot more content. It sounds like it could be on a larger map than what we've already seen in the previous two, and therefore will include things like jets and helicopters and have a lot more vehicular action. So first off, yeah, I mentioned this in yesterday's video, but David Sirland has said in the closed Battlefield Labs Discord, this was posted over on Reddit, and he said, I think the next patch will show you just how much things change in a short amount of time. And whilst I do think he's mostly referring to like the game pacing and stuff like that, somebody else here has now posted a leak from the Russian 1BF Telegram channel, says a new playtest build has been leaked. So it says no release date yet, most likely next Friday, so that is a week from when you're watching this video, if you're watching it on the release day. This time, the build number has changed to 5, so that's build 3482-353, and this is concept number 34, the highest number. So generally, you know, new updates, the higher number means a newer update. Previously, it was the concept number 9. I assume this is a full new build this time, the first since playtest began, but we'll know for sure when I see the build size after it's released. And by the way, I would expect a new wave of invites to be sent out in the next 2 days, as well as Monday, Tuesday next week. So once again, don't forget to check your emails. Now, why do I think there's going to be jets in this? Well, I've had a few people reach out to me anonymously and basically tell me that they think it could be in there as well. I don't know, maybe they've seen something in the closed Discord. I'm not in the testing at all, so I really have no idea what's happening. I'm in the same boat as you guys, and I only see what is on Reddit. Now, do bear in mind, though, that that is going to be Easter weekend, and I wouldn't have thought that DICE would be wanting to work on Easter Friday, so this is a very strange timing if it does turn out to be true. Maybe it's wrong, maybe it's the Friday after that, but nevertheless, whenever the next test does roll around, I think we can expect a lot of exciting new information on some of the vehicles in the game. I don't think we're going to see too many leaks. As has been the case with the last couple of tests, the quality has really degraded and become worse and worse, as well as us seeing fewer leaks overall, so, you know, don't hold your breath or anything. But if we do find anything interesting, I will definitely do my best to cover it here on the channel, so once again, make sure you're subbed up. So before we continue, let's get a word from our sponsor for today, War Thunder. The most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, and it's now available for free on PC, consoles, and mobile. Here you can drive, sail, or fly over 2,500 vehicles from 10 major nations, all the way from biplanes and armoured cars of the 1920s to the modern fighter jets and main battle tanks of today. Now, you won't find any simplistic health bar system in War Thunder because each vehicle is modelled down to its individual components like engines or weapons, which can then be damaged by the various shells, missiles, or other munitions, which also act like their real-world counterparts. And with the X-ray view, if you get hit, you will see exactly where the shell penetrated, which components were damaged, and what ultimately led to your demise. And I think for me, that is my favourite thing about War Thunder. The sheer realism is astonishing at times, and very rewarding as well for people who appreciate military authenticity. So if you want to experience a game with super detailed vehicles, realistic graphics, and authentic sounds, there are over 70 million players and an unmatched abundance of content ready for you to discover, then you simply need to give War Thunder a go. Plus, it's now newly available on mobile as well for both Android and iOS, featuring intuitive controls, impressive graphics, and of course, the massive multiplayer warfare that War Thunder is known for. So it's available for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile. My links are in the description and the pinned comment to get you signed up, and along with it, a free pack of goodies for new or returning players that haven't played for at least 6 months on PC or console, and that includes 7 days of premium, 100,000 silver lions, an exclusive Eagle of Valor decoration, and more. It's available for a limited time only, guys, so get it while you can. So let's dig into this skill-based matchmaking controversy. So this all started when Shroomy here over on the Battlefield 2043 Discord, he posted this to Reddit, or somebody posted it. And what this appears to be is skill-based matchmaking logic that has been pulled from the Battlefield Labs files. So you can see here he checked the files autotest_matchmaking checks and then autotest_matchmaking_flow to get an idea of the Battlefield 6 matchmaking process. And they found the following metrics. Now some of these are familiar, so we've got score per minute, win-loss ratio, kill-death ratio, input device, and then DICE is using acronyms for the rest of these, so we don't really know what they are. And then underneath that, they also found a simple logic system for all of the metrics here, and the logic differentiates between the multiplayer mode, the Granite Battle Royale mode, so that's the Battle Royale, it's on a map called Granite, and then also the GA, Gran_GA, that stands for, again, the Granite map, which is the Battle Royale map, but this time it's the Gauntlet mode. So it's clear here that they're going to use different weights on all of these various metrics for the skill-based matchmaking, depending on what game mode you're going to be playing. Now, needless to say, I was not all too thrilled when I saw this. And initially I thought, oh, maybe it's only for the Battle Royale mode or something along those lines, but clearly they've noted the different stat weights for multiplayer, the Battle Royale, and also the Gauntlet mode, so clearly it's going to be a multiplayer as well. However, I don't think we should be getting worried just yet. As we know, Battlefield has always had team balancing. After all, if you have 10 really great players, right, they've got a 6 KD, they've got a 70 or 80% win rate, it's not a great idea to have all 10 of those players on one team. Rather, you would opt to have 5 on one team and 5 on the other. And so the game does need to be able to draw upon these metrics in order to do the team balancing. I've never really found Battlefield to be a game that needs skill-based matchmaking anyway, because there are so many players in a game, and the new Battlefield game is going to have 64 of them, so if you're not maybe the best player in the world, the great thing about Battlefield is that everybody can fill a role. Maybe you're not great at shooting and aiming, but you're really good at resupplying people, reviving people, you could play that medic role, right? Or you can be repairing vehicles. Whatever a smattering of differently skilled players you have in your team, hopefully everybody can find something that they're decent at. Now, it's also worth mentioning too that when people say I hate skill-based matchmaking and it doesn't belong in Battlefield, what they really mean is they hate aggressive skill-based matchmaking, because it has to be used in every game to some degree, and I think people's idea of skill-based matchmaking when they say it's a bad one is they think of Call of Duty, right? Where you have these different skill brackets, and if you happen to win a game or perform well in that game, you will be moved up into this next invisible bracket that you can't even see, right? Because it's not ranked play. And then you just get absolutely trounced by the enemy team. Then it bumps you down a bracket, and you do okay for a game, then it bumps you back up again, and you're just constantly yo-yoing between having a decent game and then having a really bad game, and it feels terrible. So when people say we don't like skill-based matchmaking in our multiplayer games, and especially not in Battlefield, that is what they are referring to. Now luckily, David Sirland, the lead producer on the next Battlefield game, has chimed in, actually over on the Battlefield Labs Discord though, so this is only visible to the people who frequent that Discord, which is obviously the people in Battlefield Labs, which is not me, but this person has decided to go and leak it on Reddit, so we're going to read this. So he says, PSA, 2042 has skill-based matchmaking according to this definition. This is what I tried to detail above yesterday. It has a factor of skill, it's used, but ping and time to game is the top priority, and in a 64-player game, our want is to spawn a server that starts as soon as possible. Thus, the skill factor is negligible in terms of sorting into servers. Also, with a party, that is more or less ignored. Just for clarity, saying skill-based matchmaking is bad is not really useful. What you really want to say is that heavy skill-based matchmaking where skill separation is a priority is bad. And that's sort of what I was getting at there, really. I suppose the community aren't really that great at like fully articulating what they don't like about this, but then again, they're not game developers, right? So we have to be somewhat vague about it sometimes. So he continues, but that doesn't make skill as a factor in matchmaking bad wholesale. On the contrary, we need a skill value to make balanced teams, no matter the ranges of skills total on a server. It wouldn't be fun if all high-skilled players ended up on the same team, would it? Just to calm things down a tad, the fact a skill value is in the matchmaker, and it's been there since we started being able to matchmake, by the way, which, well, at least goes back to 2042, but they've also been able to matchmake in previous games when there were server browsers. That doesn't mean we are going with a heavy-handed skill-based matchmaking solution. Quite the opposite. Battlefield is at its best when you play the all-out war modes with friends and different types of players. We do not want to limit that. All of this is also true, skill being important for team balancing, regardless of in which way you join the server. For reference, did you feel like the Battlefield Labs playtests were heavy-handed skill-based matchmaking? If no, then we're good. It's the same matchmaker and settings that we'll use, with tweaks if we find any issues, of course. So hopefully that's going to put some fears to rest. I know this has been bounding around the internet since yesterday, and, you know, I was one of the first people for sure to be quite worried when I saw that, because I just think that one of the most attractive things about Battlefield is that it doesn't have any skill-based matchmaking in it, at least not as aggressive as in Call of Duty, where it sorts you into these different categories of skill level. And so what David's saying here, just to clarify, is that skill-based matchmaking, to some degree, has always been in the game, right? Whenever you matchmake, it always looks at that skill stat. Maybe it's score per minute, maybe it's kill-death ratio, maybe it's win-loss ratio. It probably takes all of these things into effect, and it uses those to balance the teams. And it is somewhat of a factor when you're matchmaking in there, but it's much more important that you get in a game quickly and that you get in a game with a low ping. Now, to add to this, the community manager for DICE, Kevin Johnson, Total FPS, he has actually chimed in on this Reddit post here, and this is going to be a little bit about how the community sort of take any piece of information, whether it be data mined, whether it be a leak from Battlefield 6, they take that and they just sort of run with it. And I try my best here on the channel to remind you guys that anything that I cover in these videos or anything you see online from Battlefield Labs is extremely placeholder and could change at any point in the future. All it does is gives us an indication of what they're trying out and experimenting with in the game. So when we talk about things like movement, that could easily change going forward. But I just wanted to reiterate Kevin's words here because I do think he has a good point. And he says Battlefield Labs is about building and collaborating on the future of Battlefield, and we want to do that in the correct way. I want to remind everyone, things that are taking place in Battlefield Labs may or may not make their way to the final finish line. This is the greatest thing about this program. It allows us the ability to get creative, see what works with those involved, gain educated and informed feedback from those that are participating, and potentially spot bugs around the features too. We've long wanted to implement this program, responding to your requests for greater improvement and a return to this type of reactivity around all things Battlefield. There is a specific time and place for the wider community to learn about new features and functionalities, and this is not it. We will address various topics and expand participation in Battlefield Labs when appropriate, but the constant reposting of things is not that time or place. Individuals are and will continue to be removed if they continue to violate the NDA that they agreed to. Information and content that gets shared is out of context and often with a narrative wrapped around it that is doing damage to the trust and transparency that we want to establish. Things simply are not the same when it comes to hearing about something out of context versus actually experiencing it or reading about it in detail with the correct descriptions around it. While the allure of brief internet fame might be tempting, It undermines our efforts to remain open and communicative, and quite honestly, if this is your intention, then I question where this aligns with the interests of this community. And I would totally agree with that, really. Like, we do need to keep an open mind, and we've seen exactly that, right? People looking at the movement of the game, they see the slide feature, they see that tactical sprint is in there, and they just sort of like write off the entire movement of the game and say that it's already going to be dead on release and ridiculous things like that, when they haven't even gotten a chance to try it for themselves. Now, I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that we should just like fully trust DICE and EA and, you know, go and pre-order the game and get super excited and hyped up for it, because it could totally be a flop, right? This is one of those games where I will believe it when I see it, smell it, and experience it for myself. And until that day comes, I am still going to be apprehensive about whether it's going to be a good Battlefield game or not. But conversely, I'm also not going to just outright condemn the game because I see some tiny feature that is being tested in a pre-alpha build. I don't think that's fair either. If you're not going to pass judgment on the game in like a positive manner because you're apprehensive about buying it and you've been burned before by EA, that's understandable, but I also don't think people should pass judgment on the game in a negative manner either. Now, he continues here, we can all agree that we wanted to have an environment that allowed for testing and collaborating once again. We want to be as transparent as we can be. You've seen us return to the values you once recognised in us. We all want to make Battlefield play like Battlefield, but we cannot do it if the trust continues to be tampered with. We must be allowed the ability to do it right alongside you all and in the correct way. And to all of those who do wish to see things grow, we commit to you that we are reading your comments and feedback in and out of the program, we are seeing and exploring your experiences with Battlefield, and we are paying attention just like what we stated in our first community update. If you want to be part of the moment and participate in Battlefield Labs, you can sign up via the link, and rest assured that your moment will arrive. One final reminder that when it comes to features, content, functionality and more, it is only official when we share it and we are comfortable with the topic at hand. To those who are here for community and wish to see a bright future for Battlefield, thank you, truly. I truly believe community has been closer to the development of Battlefield than ever before, and I've been around for quite some years now. What we're doing is something different. I know that you feel that too. It is truly refreshing to see you experience pre-alpha content and share your thoughts, but for us to then react and change in a short time frame, it's something else. Rules aren't fun, but they exist to make it better for all of us. Thank you to those who are abiding by them, but thank you for your trust and time too to make this great for you, our community. Let's keep doing things together and do expect more community updates in the very near future. So again, I think those are fair words really there. I know that DICE, maybe in some people's eyes, and EA don't deserve any compassion, but they're trying, at least I believe, they're trying to do the right thing here. I do think, from what I've seen, from what I've witnessed, they seem to be working well with the community, and I think it's a shame when people are doing things to sort of try and jeopardize that, you know, just jumping on the negative hate train just because it's DICE and EA. At the end of the day, we all want a great Battlefield game, and like, we have to support each other in that manner. You know, you've got to give people the benefit of the doubt, haven't you? And again, just before people start calling me a shill or something, I'm not saying you should run out and pre-order the game. You guys know me. I've always advocated for not pre-ordering, especially this one. Wait until you've played the game. Wait until you've tried an open beta or something for yourselves and make an informed decision whether this is worth your time or not. But I don't think mindless hate is a good idea either. In any case, I think the future definitely is looking brighter for the Battlefield community, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I hope you guys are as well. And I hope you enjoyed our little discussion here today. Once again, big thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring the video. Don't forget, guys, you can play it for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and now mobile as well by using my links in the pinned comment or the description below. And for a limited time only, you and returning players that haven't played in 6 months will get a massive bonus for PC and consoles, including multiple premium vehicles and other goodies, so make sure that you don't miss out. So as always, guys, leave me those comments down below. Take care, and I will see you all in the next video.